I think first impressions of a place are really interesting because when you move somewhere for the first time and it's exciting, it's different, and then you spend another few days there, another week there, another couple of weeks there, another month, maybe even a year, you almost totally forget what your first impressions of that place were. So I like to share my first impressions to kind of freeze in time those raw experiences and that feeling of having just arrived somewhere new. I arrived in Prague just over 24 hours ago. I spent one day in this city and I can tell you, I'm impressed. I am really impressed with Prague. We flew in with Ryanair from Stansted. The flight was about an hour and a half, very short, very easy. The first thing I'd worry about, or the first thing I'd check that concerns me when I get to a new city is there Uber? How am I going to get to my hotel, to my Airbnb, whatever? Right now I'm in an Airbnb, it's a one-bed apartment. For the week, I think this was like £140, so what's that, like $180, something like that. And yeah, it's one bed, it's fine. I'm actually stood on the bed right now because there's nowhere else to film. Uber here is fantastic. I called the Uber when I was collecting my luggage, and by the time I walked out of the arrivals door, there he was. He was there waiting. He drove us here to our apartment. Took half an hour. And first impression of the city, wow. Well, I wasn't expecting Prague to look so developed and so wealthy. It's actually very, very stunningly attractive and quite a modern and quite an advanced and wealthy city. That's, I guess, my first impressions. Having lived in Sofia, Bulgaria, I mean, obviously Prague is way closer to countries like Germany and Belgium and Austria and Switzerland than it is down to the kind of Eastern European countries. But because I've heard so many things about Prague being a cheap country, it's got a reputation for being a bit of a party town in the United Kingdom. Lots of people come for a party, for a stag do, for a hen do, things like that, because the beer is cheap, it's cheaper than water. And so I guess I was just expecting something a little less smart, to be honest. And speaking of smart, the people here dress so well. They dress so well. It's a bit like going back in time, but in a good way. In a good way. The men wear suits. They present themselves very, very well. Certainly, having just come from London, people here dress really well. The ladies wear dresses, the men wear suits. Maybe it's just because I was walking around the Opera House last night, and I guess that would have had a influencing factor. But generally, the men dress well, the women dress well. And I'm saying all this having gone out yesterday mostly in a hoodie and a t-shirt. So I felt a little underdressed, whereas back home in England, I would not have felt so underdressed. The actual city, I mean, it's just, if you've been here, you know, but it's so totally and utterly stunning. Look at these scenes of, you know, just a few pictures, a few little clips that I took during my day out. I mean, honestly, I've been to some, I thought I'd been to some pretty nice cities, but Prague, and I don't really even have to hesitate to say this, is I think the most beautiful city I've ever visited. Yeah, I'm 100% sure that it is. I can't think of any city that I've visited that is more stunning, more attractive, more beautiful, more gorgeous, more visually impressive than this city here. The buildings are just gorgeous, the architecture is amazing, they're big, they're grand, they're colourful. I mean, yes, it helped that the sun was low and you get like the low level light, but look at this gorgeous places, the parks, just totally stunning. I literally spent about an hour, 2 hours just taking pictures, taking videos of these amazing scenes. So gorgeous. Other little random things which I found interesting about Prague. So when you cross over the road, you can, there's a very clear audio signal as when to not cross and when to cross. So it starts off like, and then when it's time to cross, it goes, and then that's the signal to tell you to cross the road, which I just found kind of like quite cool and quite interesting. An interesting thing I noticed about eating out, we've eaten out 2 meals because we've only been here one day, literally one day, and 2 meals we've eaten out. Now, I'm somebody who, with my meal, I'll tend to just order water. Like, I don't really like sugary drinks. I just want the food, and I like to drink a lot of water, keep hydrated, so I just have water. And normally I just ask for tap water because why pay money for water that comes out of the tap for free? It's kind of a bit weird. So anyway, I just asked for like a jug of tap water, as I would do in England, and of course they just bring it to you probably without you even asking. Anyway, They said, no, we don't do tap water. This was in the first restaurant. The second restaurant as well, don't do tap water. On the second time I thought, oh, maybe it's not just it wasn't just a one-off with this one particular restaurant I found. And apparently it's just a thing in Prague. They don't give you tap water. Is the tap water unsafe to drink? No. So the second time I was told, no, we don't do tap water here. I thought that's a bit funny. I'm gonna ask about this because I'm a bit unsure as to why that is. And basically the guy, who was a Czech guy, so he wasn't biased at all in any way, I guess, he said it's the mentality of Czech people. He said if they gave away, as he put it, free tap water, he said you'd get a load of Czech people coming in and sitting in the restaurant all day just drinking tap water. I find that a bit strange, and I kind of do question that a little bit because, I mean, if somebody comes into a restaurant and just sits there ordering tap water, you can always ask them to leave. But just a little thing I noticed that I haven't really seen before, certainly not in a country as modern and as developed as this, with good drinkable tap water. Now, I said earlier that Prague does have a reputation for being a party town, and that is very evident here. On the walk through town, if you walk any more than 5-10 minutes, you will see one of these kiosks. They'll be stacked full of booze, full of alcohol, spirits, absinthe, cannabis. You can get cannabis cookies, you can get cannabis lollies, cannabis muffins, cannabis soup, cannabis chocolate, cannabis everything. There's cannabis cakes, everything has got cannabis in it. It's not actual real cannabis, it doesn't contain THC, so it's not going to get you high, but it does contain, I think, CBD, which will give you some of that kind of relaxing effect, or the medicinal effect, so they call it. So it's one of those towns where if you want to come for a night out and have a party with mates, then it's probably a really good shout. I've been here for one day and I have already been approached by a hooker. She just said something in Czech, and I just kind of said, no, I'm alright, thanks. And she walked off. But yeah, it's definitely got that kind of party feel to it. And it's somewhere where I can see why people would come here for a party, for a weekend, with the boys, with the girls, whatever tickles your fancy. People drive really nice new cars here. I've seen Maseratis, Ferraris, I've seen Corvettes, I've seen a lot of Mercs, a lot of BMWs, some Porsches, some really, really nice expensive cars, which again, because I always had this impression that Prague was like a poor city. I mean, the cost of living here, the cost of meals out and accommodation is very low, yet people drive very expensive cars. Just something which kind of made me think, that's a bit funny. I haven't really looked into it, but another first impression. The streets are so clean. They're wide, they're big, they're open streets, they're spacious. The pavements are like 2 of these. Like, you could get like 7 people walking on the pavement. You have to like squeeze through and do all kind of like squished together. Everything is spacious. Everything looks like it's been designed and thought about. There are nice parks. There are beautiful areas for sitting with flowers, with sunlight, with churches. The 2 meals I've eaten since being here in Prague have been a Vietnamese meal, not particularly traditional, but it was convenient, and then a goulash, which is a very traditional Czech meal, as I understand it. It came with several different types of Czech dumplings, lots of gravy, very generous with the gravy, and it's really delicious. I'm not a big meat eater, but I wanted to order something authentic, and there was only 1 or 2 other vegetarian options, and I tried this beef. It was really, really good. And at this cafe, just to give you an idea, there's a piano guy. There's a guy playing the piano. There's a gorgeous view outside across the river as you're eating. You're sitting on the window seat, you're eating your meal, you're eating your cake, you're drinking your coffee, anything you want. You can sit there for as long as you like. The staff are really friendly, and the whole thing is going to cost you, for 2 meals, it'll cost you like maybe £18, so like $25. So we're talking, given the level of comfort and service and prestige that this place has, with a guy playing piano in a dinner jacket in this beautiful setting overlooking the river of central Prague, considering you're only paying like $25 for a meal for 2, that is incredibly cheap, I think. In summary then, as a digital nomad, I am a YouTuber. I move from place to place. I live here for a month, I live there for 2 months, I live there for 3 months, and I move around a lot. Could I live in Prague? Absolutely. It's gorgeous, it's stunning. I've only been here, like I say, 1 day, but these are my first impressions. It's modern, it's beautiful, it's pretty, it's attractive, it feels very safe, it's very clean, there's good food, it's affordable, there seems to be a good quality of life. The people are friendly, there's horse-drawn carriages driving around the place, there's restaurants everywhere, the weather seems to be good. I think it's going to get cold in the winter, but it's clear skies. I'm not someone who likes the cold, but could I live here? Absolutely, it's a beautiful place. And if you fancy visiting a European city, then Prague should be on the top of your list. I visited 100 cities, about 35 countries, and I've never been to Prague until yesterday. So, could I live here? Yes, I could. Will I come back? Yes, I will. I hope you enjoyed these first impressions and found it interesting. Welcome to my channel. You can see more videos there and there. You can subscribe down there as well for more videos like this. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know, leave a comment. I do read them all, and you can hit like as well. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.